Let's move on for now, though. The High Court in Pretoria has ruled that Hawks head Burning Ntlemeza's appointment is invalid. Rights group, the Helen Sisman Foundation and Freedom Under Law challenged the 2015 appointment of Ntlemeza as head of the elite crime fighting unit. The NGOs have accused the police minister of ignoring the fact that two judges had found that Ntlemeza had been biased and dishonest and also lacked integrity. The Helen Sisman Foundation and Freedom Under Law claim the police minister did not consider judges' decree on Ntlemeza when appointing him. He specifically cited Judge Elias Motajane's ruling that Ntlemeza is biased and dishonest and also lacked integrity. The NGOs also referred to Judge Van Zyle's statement that Ntlemeza had fired the KZN Hawks head in bad faith and with ulterior motives.
Ntlemeza is no longer head of the Hawks. His appointment is set aside, and that is now a process will have to commence to find a replacement for Lieutenant General Ntlemeza, and it would have to be the proper statutory and constitutional process would have to be followed in this regard. The effect of the judgment is that Lieutenant General Ntlemeza's tenure as national head of the Hawks is at an end. It was set aside. The effect of the setting aside is that retrospectively to the 10th of September 2015, his appointment was at all times unlawful, and obviously there could be consequences in relation to that. But going forward, he is certainly not the national head of the Hawks.
Mr. Francois Beekman, the Police Portfolio Committee chairperson on the phone line. Let's just get comment here. Good afternoon to you, Police Portfolio Committee chairperson. We appreciate you talking to us here on ANN7. Just your initial reaction now with regards to Burning Ntlemeza's appointment being ruled as invalid by the High Court in Pretoria.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and also good afternoon to all your viewers. The Portfolio Committee on Police have taken note of the court judgment on the appointment of the head of the DPCI. Of course, we will study the court judgment. The Portfolio Committee on Police will also today apply for a special Portfolio Committee meeting to be held during the recess. That's on Friday, 7 April 2017, to discuss the matter. And we will also call the Minister of Police to the committee to explain what remedial steps will be taken to address the deficiencies in the appointment process as indicated by the court. And we also believe that it's critical that the matter is addressed as a matter of priority, since there cannot be a leadership vacuum at the DPCI. And the fight against organized crime is critical because it affects the lives of all South Africans, and we as the Portfolio Committee will monitor further developments closely.
Mr. Beekman, with regards to, the grounds and circumstances that Mr. Ntlemeza's appointment was found invalid, could you share those details with us?
Well, we haven't received yet the court judgment as such. As I've indicated in my introduction, that we will study the court judgment, and that's why we want to discuss then the judgment at the Portfolio Committee meeting on Friday, 7 April, to ascertain the facts and the circumstances, and to ensure also from an oversight point of view that in terms of the appointment process, that the executive authority sticks to the relevant guidelines and procedures.
And Mr. Beekman, with regards to Mr. Burning Ntlemeza's current status, has he been removed from that position with immediate effect? What is the process that happens and occurs now?
Well, that is up to the executive authority, the appointing authority, that must make that call. Unless there is an appeal process underway, of course, the court judgment must be followed, and of course then the necessary action must be taken by the executive authority. But of course we will have to await that process.
Thank you very much, Mr. Beekman, for your time and your comment. We appreciate you talking to us. That was Francois Beekman, Police Portfolio Committee chairperson. Comment continues to come in here on ANN7 with regards to the High Court in Pretoria ruling that the Hawks head Burning Ntlemeza's appointment was invalid. Joining us also on the phone line now to discuss this further is DA Shadow Minister of Police, Zakhele Mbele. Good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining us here on ANN7. Just your initial reactions on the invalid appointment of Burning Ntlemeza.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you. Well, as the DA, we certainly welcome the High Court ruling that General Ntlemeza's appointment was invalid, unlawful, and therefore set aside. it aligns with our long-standing contention that General Ntlemeza was unfit for that position and that his appointment was fundamentally irrational. So we'd like to see swift action on the part of the minister to rectify his mistake, which has been pointed out to him several times, and to ensure that the next appointment process is done properly, effectively, and according to rationality, so we have the most competent leadership at the head of the Hawks.
You speak of irrational appointment. If you could just elaborate on that comment made and maybe give us further details as to why you are of that opinion.
Well, essentially, the appointment process was deeply flawed. The selection panel did not, for example, require for him to undergo a competency assessment test that was waived. It was just taken on the minister's recommendation to cabinet that she did fit the position. So they skipped an important assessment step. Secondly, it's also been alleged, and we've still been trying to get the records from the minister to check if this is so, that Ntlemeza was not part of the original shortlist to be interviewed for that position. He was inserted later in the process and was deemed to be the fit person, even though other candidates, like the former KZN Hawks head, Johan Boysen, clearly held more merit to occupy that position. So both on procedural grounds, in terms of following all the steps and ticking all the boxes, but also on substantive grounds, the fact that there were other people on the shortlist of candidates with more merit is why we say it was a flawed process and therefore irrational, because the rational thing to do would be to look for the most fit for purpose person and ensure that the process is followed to the T.
Shadow Minister, this also brings obviously into question, our crime-fighting units in the country and sort of asks the question on whether South Africans can put their faith into these sort of units if this sort of, invalid appointments is coming to the fore. Just your view.
Well, look, as long as we don't have effective and competent leadership, then the public cannot have full confidence in the effectiveness of the police service and the units within them to carry out their mandates. And this is what we always say lies at the root of the problem with the police service right now, and their inability to reduce the rising rates of violence, organized crime, is that we have incompetent leadership in many parts who, as a result, have skewed priorities and are not able to carry out their mandates effectively, resulting in the understaffing, under-resourcing, and under-equipping that we see manifesting at ground level, and the police not being able to turn the tide on crime in order to make us all feel safer.
Shadow Minister, for your time and your comment. We appreciate you talking to us. That was the DA Shadow Minister of Police, Zakhele Mbedle, just talking to us about the Hawks head Burning Ntlemeza's appointment being ruled as invalid by the High Court in Pretoria. We continue to get reaction here on ANN7. Joining us on the phone line now is the Hawks spokesperson, Brigadier Hangwane Molotsi. Good afternoon to you, Brigadier. Thank you for joining us here on ANN7. Your comment now that the High Court in Pretoria has ruled that Burning Ntlemeza's appointment is invalid.
Well, we have noted the court's judgment, and we are more than willing to abide to it. What I know for a fact is that this matter rests in the office of the minister, and he will be the one who will be making a decision as to whether this matter should rest or he will have to continue with it.
Brigadier, with regards to the current status and position of Mr. Ntlemeza, do you have any details as to what will happen now? Has he been removed from that position as yet?
I don't have any details. What I know for a fact that he is on duty in the country, somewhere in the country. I think that is a matter that will be discussed between himself and the minister. But what is critical for us is to make sure that despite this setback, we still have a very, very important work to do within the Hawks. And as such, we should not allow this situation to take us back. We should continue with the good work that we are doing. And I'm quite sure that the members themselves are committed to make sure that they continue with the mandate. This week we had a very robust discussions or a strategic session meeting with all the provincial heads, your commanders. We have seen that there is movement within the Hawks in terms of fighting serious crime in this country. But obviously now with this court judgment, it will have sort of a little damp on it. But like I said, the work is being done. But let's leave that decision of how then we move forward to the office of the minister.
Brigadier, just one final question on that topic of the impact that this will have on the Hawks and its functioning. Any concerns in that regard?
Well, concerns I don't have. I think the general himself has already made a mark within the Hawks. We have seen there's a lot of movement in terms of crime in this country. We have also taken a decision that we are supposed to be dealing with what we are supposed to do when we deal with crime. We have lots of projects that have already been registered. Obviously, from his own background as a detective, he has brought in a lot of experience. And the members have embraced that because it was found that there were some, in other areas we were lacking in terms of expertise. So, yes, Dempa will be there if he is removed permanently. But like I said, I'm not the one to decide upon his future. The minister will decide on it. And we have to just continue with what we're supposed to do in terms of making sure that we keep the residents of this country safe at all times.
About the residents of the country, what about the integrity of the Hawks, and what about, whether or not South Africans will lose faith in this crime-fighting unit?
No, I don't know. Well, look, this thing has been going on for 2 years. We have been to Parliament. We have been, taken to task in many issues, but we have come out victorious in terms of how we're dealing with crime. Yes, it might have a damper. I don't think it's something that it should be a problem. An organization does not belong to an individual. It belongs to the people of this country. So they are the ones who should be able to say, even if we have this challenge that we are facing now, we still have a serious responsibility to make sure that we fight crime without fear or favor.
Thank you very much for your time, spokesperson. We appreciate you talking to us. Hawk spokesperson Brigadier Ngwane Molaudzi talking to us and giving us a comment with regards to burning Ntlemeza, who is or was the head of the Hawks. His appointment has been ruled as invalid. Comment continues to come in here on ANN7. Joining us now to give us further comment in view is Police Minister's spokesperson, Sandile Ngidi, on the phone line. Good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining us here on ANN7. Your initial reaction to the court ruling?
Thank you very much for the time. The Minister of Police, the Honorable Nkosinathi Mhleko, has noted the judgment and respects the decision of the court as he should. And at present, he's studying the salient points of the judgment before further comment is shared with the public. You would appreciate that such a matter has got a great deal of impact, and one requires a certain degree of calmness and the proper application of one's mind to the issues at stake. That is what the minister is doing. And one hopes that he's afforded that opportunity so that he consults widely and also gets legal consent on what may be the most appropriate next step.
Spokesperson, with regards to Mr. Ntlemeza's current status and position, do you have any details in that regard on whether or not he has been removed from the position as yet?
No, no, nothing has been done. I don't even think the court expects us to, the minister to do it in a minute, after the judgment. But one respects the spirit and letter of the judgment, and the minister is abiding by that. And as I say, proper, thought should be applied to the matter, and appropriate actions will be communicated accordingly to the citizens of this country.
Spokesperson, is there concern around, the perceived integrity and confidence that South Africans have in our crime-fighting units? Does this cause concern?
Every time matters of this nature happen, one has to be concerned. But in general, one should not, blow things out of proportion and pretend that, the crime-fighting agencies in this country are about to collapse or to fall apart. That would not be a truth. And we are urging that we exercise a certain degree of caution, but also it is the right of every citizen to be concerned, about crime, and the Minister of Police continues to be committed to the fight against crime, and that campaign continues. That commitment will continue to define, his ministry, and the entire SAPS system is working hard on that. In fact, in recent weeks, you'll be aware as well, just how many, not just weeks, but over an extended period of time, the Hawks, the SAPS, have been making some great strides in trying to fight crime, all matter of crime. But one can never say one must be complacent about crime at any stage. Crime concerns all of us, it concerns all citizens. So that will continue to be the drive and the vision of the SAPS in its entirety.
Thank you very much, spokesperson, for your time. Let's leave it there for now. We appreciate you talking to us. Police Minister spokesperson Sandile Ngidi joining us there on the phone line, giving us further details and comments with regards to the High Court ruling that Hawks said burning Ntlemeza's appointment is invalid. With regards to his current status and position, nothing has been done as yet. He hasn't been removed from that position as yet either. Stay tuned to ANN7. We are going to keep you up to date with the latest details and developments.